Our planet is a marvel of beauty and life, but it also wields forces that can reshape continents and devastate civilizations. Today, we journey into the heart of nature's fury, exploring the most catastrophic natural disasters in human history. These events have toppled empires, redrawn maps, and forced us to confront our vulnerability. From earthquakes to tsunamis, volcanoes to floods, these stories reveal both the fragility and resilience of humanity. By understanding these moments, we gain a deeper respect for the world and the forces that shape it. Let's begin. December 26, 2004. Deep beneath the Indian Ocean, two tectonic plates suddenly slipped, unleashing a megathrust earthquake, the third largest ever recorded. The seabed heaved upward, displacing a massive volume of water and spawning a tsunami that raced across the ocean at jet speed. To those at sea, it was barely a ripple, but as the waves neared land, they grew into towering walls of water. Indonesia's Aceh province was hit first. Waves over 30 meters high swept away entire communities in minutes. Across 14 countries, the sea receded eerily, luring many to the exposed seabed before the tsunami struck with unimaginable force. The devastation was staggering. 230,000 lives lost, millions left homeless, and entire coastlines erased. The world responded with unprecedented humanitarian aid, but the scars remain. The disaster exposed the vulnerability of coastal populations and the lack of warning systems. In its aftermath, a global tsunami warning network was established to prevent such tragedy from happening again. The 2004 tsunami stands as a brutal reminder of the planet's unpredictable power and our shared responsibility to prepare. It united the world in grief and action, leaving a legacy of vigilance and resilience. The memory of that day endures, urging us to respect the forces beneath our feet. Nature's fury can strike without warning, but our response can shape the future. We must never forget. In April 1815, Mount Tambora in Indonesia erupted with a force unmatched in recorded history. The explosion sent ash and sulfur high into the stratosphere, darkening skies and killing over 10,000 people instantly. The aftermath was even more far-reaching. A veil of volcanic aerosols circled the globe, reflecting sunlight and cooling the planet. The following year, 1816, became known as the year without a summer. Temperatures dropped, crops failed, and famine spread across Europe and North America. Snow fell in June, and frost killed harvests in July and August. Food shortages led to riots and mass migration, as communities struggled to survive. Even in darkness, creativity flourished. Mary Shelley, trapped by the cold in Switzerland, began writing Frankenstein. Tambora's eruption revealed how a single event in a remote corner of the world can disrupt the global climate, society, and culture. It was a stark lesson in the interconnectedness of Earth's systems. The air we breathe and the food we grow depend on forces far beyond our control. Tambora's legacy is a reminder. The planet's power can change the course of history in a single, violent moment. We are all connected by the atmosphere we share. The lessons of 1816 echo today, as we face new challenges to our climate and survival. Nature's reach is truly global. On January 23, 1556, the deadliest earthquake in history struck China's Shanxi province. The quake's magnitude was not the highest, but its impact was catastrophic, striking a densely populated region at dawn. Many lived in yaodongs, cave dwellings carved into fragile loess cliffs. When the earth shook, these homes collapsed, burying families alive. Above ground, entire cities built of heavy stone crumbled instantly. The devastation stretched over 800 kilometers, with some towns losing 60% of their population. The official death toll, 830,000, a number that staggers the imagination. Survivors faced famine, disease, and the collapse of infrastructure. The disaster spurred a search for understanding, leading to some of the earliest scientific inquiries into earthquakes. Architecture changed. Lighter, more flexible materials replaced stone and loess, and the dangers of cave dwellings were recognized. The Shanxi earthquake is a solemn lesson. The greatest danger often comes from the structures we build, not just the shaking ground. It's a story of geology, population, and human choices converging in tragedy. The scars of 1556 shaped Chinese science, engineering, and memory for centuries. Even today, it reminds us to respect the earth, and to build with wisdom. The ground beneath us is never as solid as it seems. In 1931, China faced one of the deadliest floods in human history. Years of drought gave way to relentless rain, melting snow, and a record number of cyclones. The Yangtze, Yellow and Huai rivers overflowed, submerging an area the size of England and Scotland combined. Cities like Wuhan were underwater for months. Millions fled to rooftops and makeshift rafts. The immediate death toll from drowning was immense, but famine and disease claimed even more lives in the aftermath. Waterborne illnesses swept through refugee camps, and the government struggled to respond. International aid arrived, but the scale of the disaster overwhelmed all efforts. Estimates of the total death toll ranged from 400,000 to as high as 4 million. The 1931 floods exposed the dangers of poor infrastructure, deforestation, and political instability. It was a compound disaster, nature's fury magnified by human vulnerability. The tragedy spurred massive water control projects in later decades, including the Three Gorges Dam. The lesson: when nature and human factors collide, the consequences can be catastrophic. Preparedness and stewardship are essential for survival. At dawn on April 18, 1906, San Francisco was rocked by a massive earthquake along the San Andreas Fault. Buildings crumbled, but the real disaster began when ruptured gas lines ignited fires across the city. With water mains shattered, firefighters were powerless as flames merged into firestorms, consuming San Francisco for 3 days. Over 80% of the city was destroyed, and more than half its residents were left homeless. The official death toll was suppressed, but modern estimates exceed 3,000 lives lost. Survivors gathered in tent cities, facing an uncertain future. Yet from the ruins, San Francisco rebuilt with astonishing speed and determination. The disaster led to improved building codes and a new awareness of earthquake safety nationwide. The 1906 earthquake and fire forged the city's identity, a testament to resilience in the face of devastation. It remains one of America's most significant natural disasters. The lesson endures: communities can rise from ashes, stronger and wiser. The San Andreas Fault still looms, a reminder of the power beneath California's surface. Preparedness is the key to survival. In August 1883, Krakatoa erupted in the Sunda Strait, producing the loudest sound ever recorded. The explosion obliterated most of the island and generated tsunamis over 40 meters high, devastating Java and Sumatra. Over 36,000 people died, most swept away by the waves. The eruption's effects were global. Ash and sulfur circled the planet, dimming sunlight and cooling the climate. For years, sunsets glowed red and orange, inspiring artists like Edvard Munch. Weather patterns shifted and temperatures dropped worldwide. Krakatoa's eruption was the first to be studied globally, thanks to new telegraph networks. Scientists tracked pressure waves and atmospheric changes, gaining new insights into volcanic power. The disaster showed how a single volcano can affect the entire planet. Krakatoa's legacy is both scientific and cultural, a warning of nature's reach. The world lived under its shadow, learning to watch the skies for signs of change. The eruption remains a benchmark for understanding global disasters. Nature's fury can echo around the world. We are all connected by the air we breathe. On April 26, 1986, a safety test at Chernobyl nuclear power plant in Ukraine went catastrophically wrong. A reactor exploded, releasing a massive plume of radioactive material into the atmosphere. Firefighters and workers sacrificed their lives to contain the disaster, many dying from acute radiation. The Soviet government tried to hide the accident, but radiation spread across Europe, forcing mass evacuations. Pripyat became a ghost city, abandoned forever. The fallout contaminated vast areas, causing a surge in thyroid cancer and other health issues. A concrete sarcophagus was built over the reactor, later replaced by a massive steel arch. Chernobyl exposed the dangers of secrecy and the risks of nuclear power. Yet, in the exclusion zone, wildlife has returned, creating a paradoxical sanctuary. The disaster changed global attitudes toward nuclear energy and safety. Chernobyl is a permanent reminder of the consequences of human error. Nature is reclaiming the land, but the poison lingers. The lessons of Chernobyl echo for generations. We've witnessed the awesome power of our planet, from earthquakes and tsunamis to nuclear catastrophe. These disasters reveal our vulnerability, but also our capacity to learn, adapt, and rebuild. Each tragedy has driven advances in science, safety, and global cooperation. The stories of loss are immense, but so too are the stories of resilience and hope. Thank you for joining this journey. If you found it valuable, please like and subscribe. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.